Most people trying to get into property are doing about 20 things at once. And that right there is why it feels so hard. And honestly, whatever route you've been looking at, whether it's savings for a deposit, trying to buy your first buy-to-let, getting into HMOs, or just simply researching strategies on YouTube, it ends up the same. You're wearing every single hat. You're trying to understand the numbers whilst finding the deals, whilst figuring out the legals, whilst building a network, whilst raising money. And then on top of all of that, you've still got a full-time job that you have to show up every single morning. And somewhere underneath all of that, you're supposed to be actually making progress. You're supposed to be getting closer to your first deal, your first bit of income from property, your first real step away from 9 to 5. So what happens? You end up spending every evening, every weekend on this. And you still go to bed feeling like you're no closer, doing more research than you've ever done in your life, spending hours on Rightmove and YouTube and etc. and still feeling like you're going backwards. But here's the thing. The people who actually get into property and build real income from it, the ones who seem calm, the ones who look like they figured it out faster than everyone else, they're not doing 20 things, they're doing 4. And that's what this whole video is about today. And here's why this matters wherever you're at right now. These 4 tasks don't care how much money you have. Whether you're starting with nothing, have a little bit of savings, or you're still trying to figure out everything, including your strategy, it doesn't matter. Get these 4 things right and you'll move. Get them wrong and you'll stay stuck in the research mode, doing absolutely everything apart from making money in property. I'm going to walk you through each one using how we do it. And I've sourced over 400 deals without spending a penny of my own money. But honestly, the framework is the same, whatever the model is. But before we get into the 4 steps, let's back up a little bit, because it's usually all starts with the route you think you have to take. See, most people default to the slow routes. Savings for years for a deposit, waiting until I got 50, 80, 100 grand in the bank, thinking that they need to buy something before they can even make anything. And don't get me wrong, look, buying property is the end goal, but every single one of those traditional routes needs the same thing. A lot of money up front. So you end up spending years and years just trying to get into the game in the first place. So let me give you a real example. Me. I was working a 9 to 5 in recruitment. I was earning good money, but not enough to go out and buy property. And to be honest, I thought that was it. I thought I needed to save and wait and wait and wait, and that was just how it worked. And I was wrong. And the reality hit. Even when I looked at what I'd actually need, the deposit, stamp duty, legal fees, the cash buffer, it was years away. And I needed the income now, not in 5 years, now. And that was my problem. I didn't need a one-day plan. I needed a way in that didn't require £100,000 sitting in my account before I even start. Now I'm going to show you these 4 tasks through a lens of what we do, which is property sourcing, because honestly, it's the fastest route into property I've ever come across. So stick with me, even if this isn't your strategy, because these tasks apply to you either way. So here's why sourcing is the one I'd point anyone towards starting from scratch, and especially if you're in a 9 to 5 now. The skills that you already have, the ones that you've been using every single day at work, which is speaking to clients, managing relationships, selling, negotiating, presenting, those are the exact skills that make a property sourcer. You're not starting from zero. You're just pointing what you've already got in a different direction. That's genuinely why I started here. I looked at what sourcing actually required and realized I was already doing 80% of it just for somebody else's business. So with sourcing, you take those transferable skills, apply them to finding deals for investors, and you charge fees anywhere from 3 to 8K per deal. And then you use the income to fund your portfolio. So there's no long-term waiting anymore. So you've acquired the skill set that already have, and it's finally working for you. And I know it works because I've done it and I'm doing it right now. I've sourced over 400 deals. I've sourced over £13 million worth of property, and I've bought property from using the income to create my portfolio, which didn't take me years and years and years. Over the last year, I've taken a bigger impact in helping dozens of people to start and scale their own sourcing business, doing exactly what I'm about to show you. So here it is, the 4 tasks. If you can get these right, no matter what your strategy is, then this whole thing stops feeling impossible. Task number 1, marketing. This is what generates your leads. Because here's the truth, you haven't really got a sourcing business without a steady flow of investors coming in, and a mistake almost everybody makes is they wait. They just hope for word of mouth. They post once on LinkedIn and they wonder why nothing happens. That's not really a system, that's just luck. What you actually need is a machine that brings investors to you. So for us, LinkedIn alone has brought in over 6 figures in revenue from investors. People with real money, ready to deploy, actively looking for someone that they can trust. Instagram has brought in warm leads who have been watching for weeks before they even reach out. And then referrals off the back of every investor we work with. When the marketing run, the leads run. And the best part is, it doesn't depend on your mood or your memory. Oh look, it's not just us. One of the people in our community came in with 0 experience, 0 deals, And within weeks of getting this part right, he'd booked his first investor call and had people ready to move. It completely changed his trajectory, and he'd done it from his bedroom on his lunch break with nothing but a LinkedIn profile and system. Task number 2, sales. That's turning those leads into signed deals. And this is where most people kill it before it's even started. They get an investor on a call, they hear what they're after. And within about 90 seconds, they're off, pitching the strategy, area, yields, the numbers, everything. And the second you do that, the investor's guard goes straight up. So let me tell you who the best salespeople in the world actually are. Doctors, and even better, plastic surgeons. Because think about it, you walk into a plastic surgeon's office, what's the first thing they do? They hold a mirror up to you. They get you to look at yourself and tell them what you want fixing. You say it out loud, and only then do they go, right, here's what I prescribe. They don't walk in and start listing every procedure they offer. They make you spell out the problem first, and by the time they prescribe the fix, you're already sold, because it came from you. And that's exactly how you should run an investor call. Because you're not actually selling a deal, you're selling the bridge, which from the version of them sat on cash going nowhere, frustrated, not knowing who to trust, to the version that has their money working, a yield that they're happy with, and a sourcer that they rely on again and again and again. So hold the mirror up, get them talking, get them to tell you what's actually holding them back from investing, and then, and only then, put the deal on the table. An investor sitting on 80K doing nothing, and you show them a realistic path to a 9% yield, fully packaged, completely hands off, they sell themselves. And moving to task 3, the operations. This is running the system once you've got investors and deals moving. And this is the big one, because this is where you decide whether you've built yourself a business or just handing yourself a second stressful job. Because when I first started, I did everything myself. Every email, every deal analysis, every follow-up, I did everything. I was in a business every hour I wasn't at work. I was the bottleneck. And I started building proper systems, templates, processes, a CRM that actually tracked things. And that shift from doing everything up here to having a repeatable system, that was the moment everything changed for me. My whole mindset shifted. I went from someone trying to close one deal to someone building a business that could close deals consistently, month after month. That's a business. And today, we've got a clear pipeline, a structured process for every single stage, which is from finding a deal to getting paid, and it runs the same way every single time. This isn't a side hustle for me anymore. This is a company, and that's the lesson. You systemize it so it doesn't depend on you showing up perfectly every single day, because you can't scale something that only lives in your head, and you can't grow it where you're reinventing the wheel on every single deal. Which moves us to task 4, the fulfillment, the actual delivery, the deal quality, the investor experience, the reputation you're building, whether personable or the brand. Because here's the thing, you can have the best marketing, the best sales strategy, the best systems, but if the deals you bring are shit, wrong numbers, wrong areas, sloppy analysis, it all falls apart. You get burned investors, refund requests, and your reputation, gone. This is the foundation everything else sits on top of. And I'll be honest with you about just how costly getting this wrong could be, because I've seen sources charge fees for deals that didn't stack, nowhere near stacked. Investors who've lost money, sources who had to pay it back, and exactly what happens when this part isn't dialed in. So it has to be right. Proper deal analysis, accurate projections, investors who actually make money, because in this game, your reputation is everything. A happy investor doesn't just come back, they send everyone they know. The referrals, the quality, it goes on and on and on. So there you go, the 4 tasks: marketing, sales, operations, fulfillment. Get those 4 right and building a property sourcing business stops feeling impossible. Because the truth is, it was never that property is hard, it's that you've been focused on the wrong things. You've been buried under the 20 hats that you're wearing, when in reality, you only need to wear 4. And here's the bigger truth. You don't need £100,000 to get started. You don't need a portfolio. You don't need all those years of experience. You just need a skill set, a system, and the willingness to actually go and do things. So stop waiting until you've got enough money and start building the income that gets you there through property sourcing. If you want to learn how to get started, click on the link in the description to book a call. And if not, no worries. I hope you found some value in this video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.